Welcome, everybody, to another episode of What's Good with Ben V. Today we have Amy Winters. Amy is an ultra endurance athlete and a friend, and I worked with her way back in the day. Um, we're going to give you a really good intro and her history and in the intro to the podcast. But today we want to talk to Amy specifically about one thing, and that's a record that she's going to try to break for the Guinness World Book of Records, and that's the 100-mile time trial for the treadmill. And so, thank you, welcome to the show, and thanks for coming on and tell us a little bit about the record and tell us about how you got to this point.
Well, I mean, I can go on about the record and I can go on about all kinds of different things, but I think one of the most important things for me right now is to kind of give a little, and I know you're going to give back history, but I don't think people realize, and I never realized what an impact that you made on my life and what you did for me years. I mean, this is going back to 2006 when I was focusing on the Olympic trials. In 1994, I had a motorcycle accident and I lost my leg. And you actually took the time to help me understand my prosthetic, my talent, and conditioned and strengthened me, just without compromise, without hidden agendas. And in the world that we live in today, everything is so much of instant gratification that to have somebody take the time to help you, to want to be a part of your dreams is important. And I think in the times that we live now, it's even more important because a lot of people are lost. So what happened was, and it's kind of a funny timeline of events. Someone had actually went out and published the fact that they had set a world record on a treadmill for 100 miles. Here's my two children looking at me in the kitchen, and they were like, "Mom, what are you talking about? We're in this pandemic. Someone said they just set a world record for 100 miles on a treadmill. You did that when we were 3 and 4 years old." And I was like, yeah, I did. And that was back before, social media was big, Instagram, Facebook, all of that stuff.
Right.
And running 100 miles on a treadmill had to do with my daily training. I was a mother, a single mother, raising two children in an area where we had no family, no friends, no nothing. And what I would have to do is I would work all day long, come home, get everybody fed, get everybody ready for bed, and then have somebody come over, pay them to spend the night at my house. And I would literally go out and run for 24 hours or 12 hours at a time. And a lot of my training. So I would actually get on the treadmill at 6, 7 o'clock at night and be on the treadmill until the next day. So running 100 miles on a treadmill
Right.
was definitely not something that was foreign to us. And so, my kids said to me, they're like, "Mom, you've already done this. We're seeing this stuff on Facebook. Why aren't you saying anything?" And it kind of coincided with a friend of mine, Joe DeSena. He would say to a group, he's like, "I have Amy on the call, and Amy did 3,000 burpees, and she's here to inspire you." And so I just kind of felt like I was literally resting on my laurels. I had all kinds of accomplishments, but what was I doing? What was I doing to help people? How was I making myself better, my children better? And I really wasn't doing anything. And I realized that I actually had to take a step back and reset some of those accomplishments and goals. So that same day, we went out, we did 3,332 burpees. And a few weeks later, we went to Vermont, borrowed a treadmill, and ran for 21, 22 hours on a treadmill and set obviously a new established world record. And at the end of that, we had everything videotaped, we had everything recorded. And in setting any type of a world record, you have to follow standards. And the standards have to be measurable and accountable for others to follow. And so, what we're doing with Guinness is Guinness actually reached out and said, we know you already did this, but can you do it again? And to be honest with you, a lot of times when I do certain things, I've crossed that finish line. I don't want to go back and do it again. I'm the type that if I don't know what's coming ahead, I'm great. I'm
Hmm.
unstoppable. But if I've been there, done that, I'll let things play in my mind and it'll kind of wear me down. But when I was asked to do it again, I knew that in my heart, I didn't give my best effort. I got distracted. And so for me, this is the ultimate challenge to get back on that treadmill and run 100 miles, eliminate all this, eliminate all the distractions of the world and everything that we have today, and really push myself. And instead of resting on my laurels and resting on my accomplishments, it's showing others what's possible. Yeah, not everybody wants to run 100 miles. I get that. But
Right.
everybody wants to be their best. And if the pandemic that we're in hasn't shown you this, I don't know, you know, what else could prove it to you. But right now, you have to look at what's going on around us and realize you have two choices. You can be the you that you want to be, and you can dig deeper and push harder and really be the you that you want to be. Or you can settle and you can be the you who desires to be something else.
Right.
And
Right.
that's what it's really all about. I get the way the world, I get the way things are right now, but you know what? It's not that bad. It
Mhm.
really, when you look at what it could be, it's not that bad. And at the end of the day, you have two choices. You can be the you want to be, or you can be the you that desires to be something else. So
Right.
choose you and be better. And that's what you've always taught me. I mean, and you taught me that years ago.
Well, thank you for the compliment. That was really sweet. It was easy to work with an athlete like you that's self-motivated, and it's interesting because we do want to talk about the record, but I'm sure the audience is now thinking, okay, what motivates somebody to do that, to run on a treadmill for 24 hours, and they don't know the mindset of the ultra endurance athlete, which is really interesting because the few ultra endurance athletes that I follow either on social media or I've read about and understand what they've done, they've all kind of spun that off into this real big sort of honest motivational platform. They use it to motivate people you're all speaking the same language. Like, what's the mindset? Like, first of all, ultra endurance events now, Amy, it's blowing up, right? I mean, it's like never before. There's a lot more of them. And what are some of the different ones before you answer my question?
As far as ultra endurance events,
Yeah, now, because I know that the sport, the practice has grown in the last 10 years.
and what it is ultra endurance has exploded. And the reason that it's exploded is because if you take that simple mindset of remember years ago, they always talked about the 4 minute mile.
Hmm.
And they always said if someone broke the 4 minute mile, they would die.
Right.
They said it could not be done. It was physically impossible. And so, we're all kind of herded through life like basically like a cattle, like cattle or like a herd of cattle, and
Hmm.
wherever they tell us to go, we always follow. And
Hmm.
so they sat there and said if you broke the 4 minute mile, you would die. There's no way that it could happen. One person broke that barrier, and it was like the domino effect. Everybody everybody ended up following. And
Right.
that's what life is like. You know, you have the marathon, you have the 5K, the 10K, you have the triathlon, you have the Ironman, and everybody is kind of stuck like a bunch of cattle, and we're just kind of being led through these, shoots and everything. And until one person breaks that barrier, you never know what's possible.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is I think so many people are not settling for what's put out there. I'll never settle for less. I will
Mm-hmm.
always push past, dig deeper, push harder to be the best version of myself that I can. And my focus is to be the best mother that I can possibly be to my children, to have my children look back and say, you know what, if my mother can do it, I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And to be an example that, yeah, not everybody wants to go and carry 80 pounds on their back and race for 75 hours. But if that lady can do it, working full time, raising two children on her own, missing her leg, then I can be a better mother. I can be a better sister. I can be a better father. I can be better at what I do.
Right.
And I think what's happening now is people are not settling for the standards that have been placed. And so, everybody's kind of saying with COVID and the new normal and the new normal, you know what? I'm sorry, I'm going to swear, fuck the new normal. Normal sucks. And if
Mm-hmm.
you and if you take yourself and place yourself into that mold of normal, shame on you. You need to break the barrier and be different. And when you strive past and push past, that's where you're coming into endurance athletes. It's people who are not settling for normal. And there are so many different ultra endurance events. It's about, you're not just doing an Ironman, you're doing an Ironman for 10 days straight. You're not just doing a marathon, you're running for 135 miles, you're running for 24 hours to see who can, accomplish the most miles. You are doing an obstacle course race not only for 24 hours but 48 hours. So
Right.
it's everything in life. And what people are not doing is they're not settling anymore, and that's where your ultra endurance athletes are coming into play.
Right. Do you think that you setting these really what most people would perceive as really obscure goals with ultra endurance and achieving them, having one leg and having and being in the position you are where you never were paid to be a professional athlete, you had to keep a job and stuff. Do you think that how do I phrase the question? That is used as a method of that makes people feel like the goals that are in front of them or the objectives that they have in front of them are so much smaller.
You know what? It's funny. I was talking to my daughter yesterday about this, and she said to me, I don't feel like I measure up. And I said to her, she's like, I feel like I would let you down. I don't care if you are walking 400 meters, 200 meters. If your goal is to run a mile, act out the play with no repeats,
Mm-hmm.
um, anything, I don't care what someone's focus is, because what your focus is and what your goal is the most important thing to you. So whether I run 100 miles, whether I run 200 miles, my goals are specific to me. And that's what helps me move forward. That's what helps me fight the demons inside me. That's what helps me progress in life. But not one person's goals is, and or basically outshine someone else's goals. Everybody is equally, and your goals are equally as valuable.
Yeah. Yeah.
It has to do with you. It has to do with you and what you want to do with your life. Not everybody wants to run 100 miles. Not everybody wants to run 200 miles. Not everybody wants to run. I coach a group of girls in the morning, and some of them absolutely hate running and they don't want to run, and that's fine. But what they want to be is they want to be the best mother, the best grandmother, the best sister, the best aunt. And that's what
Right.
it's all about. So yes, everybody has their own goals, and that's what we need as an individual to excel and to better ourselves. But does somebody else have to have the same goals? No. And that's what makes the world unique, is everybody is so different. An apple is not an apple, an orange is not an orange, and that's what makes us unique, individual, and that's what kind of makes the world go round. So can I expect anybody else to want to align or be in tune with my goals? No. Everybody thinks I'm nuts, and that's okay, because
Hmm.
this is the only way that I know how to make a difference in this world.
Hmm.
I go to work, I do my best, I give my best, I give everything I have to my family, and I get out there and I set the craziest of goals, because why not? Why not? Why not set your goals up here? Why set them down here? Why not set them up here? And I'm a big believer that, yeah, I'll set my goals way high, and I will
Hmm.
fail and I will trip and I will fall, but I will always get back up, and I will always keep trying. And that's what's most important, is that you learn from not achieving your ultimate goal. You learn from it, you're stronger, you're smarter, and you take that. And for me, that's just the only way that I can make a difference in this world. So getting out there, getting on the treadmill in the current, you know, normal life that we're in right now, and running 100 miles, for me, is my only way to help people see that anything is possible,
Right.
that never let anything stop you, and just to remember that you always have two choices, and the number one choice is to choose you and to make a difference. And along the
Hmm.
way, when you choose you, when you choose that thing that you love to do, that just lights that spark in your eyes, you without a doubt will help people.
Right. Right. No. Amen. And when it's funny because when I heard about the record and you were talking about, you asked me about the record, it was exciting because as a kid, I remember that was a big deal. And you don't hear about, the Guinness World Record when it applies to anything anymore. So it's not like it used to be where you would read about it in the paper and you would see about it on the news, but now you don't hear about it more. And I was like, wow, this is cool. Like someone's actually, you don't think that there's any more records that people can break, but there are. And so,
There are so many records that you can break. It's so funny. Like I said, I have a group of girls in my gym, just because fitness, and you know it, I mean, fitness does everything. No matter what level of fitness you're in, fitness can change your life for the better. It can lead you to be the best role model, the best mentor that you can possibly be. And it makes your life better. And for me, because of COVID and because of the pandemic, I promised myself and the group of athletes that were around me that I would never let something or someone take our happiness away. And our happiness comes from fitness. We meet every morning at 5:15 in the morning. It's free. I post a workout every night. Whoever wants to show up shows up, and we just have a great time. And everybody works out to their ability level, and it just, you never want somebody else to be in control of your destiny. And right now for us, it's just getting out there and and doing, and this is not something that's impossible. And it's funny because I always tell the girls all the time, I always tell them that our upbringing has kind of, I don't want to say limited ourselves, but it has. And I tell the girls, I said, when I grew up, I thought I could fly. Me and my
Hmm.
brothers literally got on top of the roof
Hmm.
and jumped off of the roof of our garage because we thought we could fly. The
Yeah.
only reason we didn't realize we could fly, obviously, we hit the ground and we all got hurt. But a lot of times, the reason that you don't think you can fly is because somebody told you that you can't fly. It's cold outside. We never had a clue that it was cold outside. It was because somebody told us it was cold outside. You see parents all the time when their kids get hurt, they always try and turn their head and not let the child see their shock or their concern, because if the child doesn't realize, oh my gosh, they got hurt, they have no clue because they have no sense of pain.
Hmm.
So there's so much in life that we've been conditioned to believe. And I've tried to teach the group of athletes that I work with and stuff that we have to rewrite our stories. Our stories have been written for us. And it was funny, one of the girls today was actually discussing her son's birthday, and it's going to rain tomorrow and it's going to ruin the party. And I looked at her and I was, do you remember? I said, go to the dollar store, buy 20 or 30 ponchos, and let them all play outside. Do you remember when we were a kid, we played outside? We played outside in the rain, we jumped into puddles. Being in the rain doesn't make you sick. Yeah, we were
Yeah.
conditioned to believe that. So there's so much in life that conditions us to be where we're at. And the more that we can rewrite our stories, the better that we are.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, that's what this is about, is just rewriting a story.
Nice. I like that. And so when's the projected date? We're looking at end of May.
Well, and it's funny because you talk about Guinness and everything, and when I was talking to the girls and we were talking about um, how life has kind of rewritten itself through others' eyes. Like I said, we thought we could fly, we were invincible, we could do anything. Um, And I remember growing up, we always focused on the Guinness Book of World Records, being an Olympic athlete,
Yes.
and until kind of what's gone on in the last 30 years, because that's all we had. All we had was Guinness. And in communicating with Guinness, it's always been a lifelong dream of mine. A few years ago, I actually was in a barbed wire crawl. It was the farthest that you could crawl under barbed wire for 12 hours. Oh my gosh.
Come on. Come on. You can't make that up. Are you serious?
Yep, it's an actual record. I crawled 7 point
How many participants?
with one leg. We had quite a few. We actually had quite a few, but this was after 3,000 burpees and probably 45 hours of competing in the mountains of Vermont. Um, and,
Oh.
but so many people are lost on all of that stuff. And we were doing something. My son, he's going into the Navy, and he has to do a plank. So we actually looked it up. Well, he looked it up because he has to do a 2.5 minute plank. And I was laughing, and because I remember doing a plank challenge, and I won the plank challenge. There's a gentleman, he's an older gentleman. He did
Mm.
over 8 hours for the world record of a plank.
I think I saw that. I think I saw that. Yeah, yeah. I think I saw that because he actually, when he finished, he needed help, like to get off the table. And yeah, I remember seeing that. That's amazing.
But it's amazing what the body can do. It's amazing what the mind can do.
Yeah.
And everybody's just so caught up with what's going on that they don't push themselves anymore. They don't strive to be their best.
Yeah.
They're essentially resting on their laurels, and that's what I found myself doing. I found myself reflecting and kind of getting my, accolades on my previous achievements, and it's like I was like the pot calling the kettle black. What have I done recently? And so
Right.
it's honestly time to get up and kind of reinvent yourself. And so for me, it's, the sooner the better that we can get out there and do this. It's going to be within the next couple weeks. And it's just going to be to get out there to make a difference. And at the end of the day, if it changes someone's life, it's well worth it. And I know the last time that I did it, I actually had a lot of people that challenged themselves to accumulatively accomplish the goal of running and or walking 100 miles. So whether it took them a year, whether it took them 3 months, 6 months,
Hmm.
it didn't matter. They actually got out there, they accepted the challenge, and
Yeah.
they walked, ran, and accumulated a total of 100 miles. And so that's
Wow,
what I'm
that's amazing.
hoping. I'm hoping, yeah.
That's inspirational. That's really cool. I mean, I hope this does even more for the public. And what's the goal? What's the current record? And what's the goal for you?
So I want to say that once we hit 100 miles, we were just under 22 hours. So we were 21 hours. So for me, I'd really like to be down in the 19, 18 hour mark.
And when do you start? You start in the morning and run through the evening, or you start at the when are you planning on doing it?
So what I'll try to do is I'll try and kind of follow suit on the last run that I had when I was out there with Joe DeSena in Vermont on the Death Race Farm, of all places. We actually start, he's like, hey, I got there at probably 11:30 at night, and he's like, hey, we're going to start at 5:30 in the morning. I was like, okay, whatever. And I don't think the treadmill had arrived or been set up, and I think it was 11 o'clock at night the night before we actually jumped on the treadmill. So the morning of the run, we were actually trying to kind of fine tune the treadmill and the parameters of the treadmill.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so if we can start, I mean, it's nice to kind of get an early start. Um, so most likely we'll probably start at 5, probably 5 in the morning.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah. And so let I'm assuming you're going to break it because I know you and I know that you will. And yeah, and I know that it's going to be a source of inspiration for a lot of people, but in a perfect world, where would you like to see this record? What would you like to see this record accomplish? Not just for you, but for people that know about you, for people that follow you, for people that you inspire.
What I would like to see is for others to set their sights on doing something great. I would like everybody to kind of take a look at this and then realize we've all been kind of resting on our laurels. And it one thing that I can say that sums it up is I was, doing my daily workouts. I was at a CrossFit gym, and
Hmm.
the coach, they were great. And they said, we're going to do a burpee challenge. We're going to do 100 burpees a day for 100 days. Great. I'm in. Sign me up. I'm in. But there was also a little girl who was adopted and living here in Long Island and had a lot of physical disabilities, mental disabilities. And for me, it was about accepting the challenge for myself, but accepting it for her. So for 100 days, I did 100 burpees for me and I did 100 burpees for her.
Wow.
And I want to say I was right at my last day. and there were 3 athletes, 2 females, 1 guy. And I was finishing my last set of 200 burpees. And they were all kind of looking at me and they're like, why are you doing that? It's so stupid. Why would you want to do 200 burpees a day for 100 days? And I said to them, I was like, why not? Why would you not want to push past what's normal? Because when you walk out that door right now, you don't know what's going to happen to you. You don't know where your life is going to go. And so why would you not want to push past? Why would you not want to see who you could be if you just took that extra step a little bit further? If you push just a little bit harder? Why would you want to settle for less? Why not push past, and why not go beyond what's normal? Because you have no clue who you can be. And I say this all the time, and I know people, they kind of laugh at me and stuff like that. And it's kind of like that one saying, at the end of the day, when you come skidding in, and I literally want to be spent at the end of my day, at the end of my life. I want to know that I did my absolute best, that I gave my absolute best, and that I lived my life to the fullest. And if you
Right.
don't push past, how is that living to the fullest? That's just living normal. That's just kind of herding in with the cattle and kind of moving along. And that's what I hope. I hope that this helps people want to strive to push past what's normal. Um, you know, at the end of a workout, if it's 5 rounds, could you imagine who you could be if you did 6? When the bell rang and everything stopped, could you imagine if you just went 2 minutes farther?
Yeah.
Could you imagine who you would be and how you would change your life and the life of those around you? And so that's what it's about. It's about taking the time to dig a little bit deeper, to change your life, to invest in yourself and make a difference. And so for me, investing in myself is making a difference for others. And so that's what I hope to accomplish. But obviously, at the end of the day, I hope to be the best mom that I can be. And I hope that my children, if they're ever faced with an obstacle, you know, will pick their heads up and just fight right through it.
Well, you're an awesome role model, not just for your kids, but for everyone else. And, no matter what conversation that you and I have had over the years, there's always a consistent inspirational message, even in the little conversations that we have. So I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for being you. I want you to tell everybody where they can find you. I'll obviously put the information on the record in the show notes and everything else, but where can people find you?
Well, I mean, kind of before I go into there, I just wanted to add one thing. Do I have bad days? Am I always happy? Yes, I have bad days. No, I'm not always happy. Do I sit sometimes in a corner and cry? Yeah, I cry because I'm human. I am
Right.
human. I let myself be human. I've failed over. Never let it defeat me. I'll let sadness get me, and I'll let it get me for a little bit, but then I'll brush it off and I'll get back up and I'll keep moving. Because if you let things like that grab a hold of you, it'll destroy you. And all of us have the same abilities, the same potential, and basically the ability to just desire and to dream and to follow those dreams. So, my goodness, where can you find me? I don't even know. I'm terrible at this stuff. I wish I was better. Um, I
Give
know my Instagram is Amy AMYBKW1, and my Facebook is Amy Palmera Winters. My website is www.CSEE Amy AMY run RUN.com. I don't know what the rest of my stuff is.
That's the one. See Amy Run. SeeAmyRun.com. Everybody, look for Amy to crush the world record on the treadmill. And look to her for inspiration. As always, thank you, Amy. Thanks for being on the show, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you so much for having me, Ben. And all I can say is, you know, I can get out there and do amazing things, but I can't do it without my team. And so thank you, Ben, for just always believing in me, and the confidence and the belief that you have in me is contagious. And that it's contagious, and it bleeds into what I do, and it adds strength to the determination that I have. And to be honest with you, there's nothing in life that we ever do solely. It's always done as a team. And I can't thank you enough for being a part of my team and for getting me started years ago, and just for believing in me, always believing in me, and always giving me a chance. And so for us, it's a team thing, and we are going to get out there and we are going to crush this record.
Amen. Love that. Okay, thanks, Amy. Appreciate you.
Bye.